Thank you for listening to the 39th Street Church of Christ Daily Devotional. Our devotional today is entitled When Satan Knocks, presented by Jack Williams.
A while back I was cleaning out my office a bit and looking through some things that were in a box from before I even came here. So that makes them about 38, 40 years old at least. And I came across the card that said, when Satan knocks, I send Jesus to the door. Well, I put that on my desk and I've looked at it time to time, and you know, at a time like this, I thought, Satan's knocking quite a bit, isn't he? You think, well, what do you mean Satan's knocking? When is he knocking? Well, Satan doesn't come up the door in a little red suit and pitchfork and knock and say, here I am, Jack, I'm after you. But what he does, he uses the things of this world, the trials, temptations, the struggles, and he might come and he might say, well, you just can't do it. Nobody can live the way that you're expecting to. Nobody can live that, especially in trials like this. Well, I'll let Jesus give the answer. Philippians, the 4th chapter, and verse 11 and following, the Apostle Paul talked about it. In whatever state he was, he'd learn to be content. But the solution came through Jesus himself. Philippians 4:13, he said, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. Satan has to leave. Don't knock again. But the fact is, he does. He comes in and he says, you know, Jack, it's just too hard. Nobody can bear these things. Well, again, 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, and verse 12, Paul gives a warning, let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. And so sometimes, Satan counts on me thinking I'm going to do it by myself. But in verse 13, we're told that God is faithful. He won't allow us to be tempted above that we're able to bear, but he will, the temptation, provide a way of escape that we can bear it. So I say, Satan, get on. I don't have anything to do with you anymore, because it isn't too hard. Me and God, we can bear it. I look and I find in the book of Matthew, the 11th chapter, and verse 28, Jesus emphasized that very fact. Ye that labor and are heavy laden, come unto me, I'll give you rest. He promised he'd never leave me nor forsake me. So I know that it's not too hard. Now I think, well, Satan's done with me, go on. But then he may come and he may knock again. And he says, Jack, you're doing all this. You think you can make it. You think you can bear this. You think Jesus will help you, but nobody really cares. You're all alone. And I think about how sad that is. Because I know that God cares. In Romans, the 5th chapter, in verse 6, we find that whenever we were yet without strength, whenever we were ungodly, that Christ died for us. I have a little picture in my office that little girl is standing there and saying, Jesus, how much do you love me? And he spread his arms this wide and died. That's how much he cares. Then you think about, of course, the Father himself. Does he care? In 1 Peter, the 5th chapter, in verse 6, it talks about humbling ourselves that he may exalt us. And then in verse 7, he says, casting all your cares upon him, for he careth for you. You see, the Father loved me and you enough that he gave his only begotten Son. How could I dare say nobody cares? But then there's another one. I care. I care about you. I care about others. And I know there are others who care about me. In the book of Galatians, the 6th chapter, and verse 2, we're told that Christians bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. We find in verse 10 that we do good unto all men, especially those of the household of faith. It's a wonderful thing to know that God cares, the Son cares, that there are others round about me who care. And I care for you. I know these times are hard. I know there's struggles. But I want you to know you're not alone. I want you to know that it's not too hard. I want you to know that you can do it. And if I or anyone else here at 39th Street can be of help to you, to strengthen you during this time, we want to do that. Our prayer is that we'll get through these trials and struggles, but we will keep our eye upon that prize before us, knowing all these things about God and what He wants us to know. Satan's going to knock at your door. He's going to knock at mine, going to keep on knocking. He's like a roaring lion, 1 Peter 5:8. He goes about seeking whom he may devour. But let's learn to just send Jesus to answer that door. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this short devotional. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you'll be notified of other devotionals that will be forthcoming. Also, we encourage you to join us online live as we stream our services at each service time. More information can be found on our website at the link below. Thank you.